Thank you for joining us for another segment of What Women Bring, where I have an opportunity to sit and talk with our honorees from 2022 What Women Bring. And today I have the pleasure of having a one-on-one conversation with Natalie Hamm, our government honoree, who is the county attorney for Charleston County government. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here and being open to getting to know you better.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your honor.
Thank you. It has been such an honor to be a part of this organization.
Awesome.
I am truly, truly, truly blessed.
Well,
and
you
thankful.
are now a part of our family.
Oh.
So you will not only be highlighted, but we'll be calling on you.
Okay, that's
Not
okay
just-
too.
Yeah, it's an honor, but it's also a thing.
It's typically how it goes.
Yes.
A little bit of work, a little bit of honoring.
Exactly,
It's okay.
exactly. So, and we love having women who are really on the move, who are doing incredible things. And oftentimes they're women that we've never heard their names before, but the community comes out and says, hey, this woman is doing things not only in her career, but she's making a difference in her community.
Yeah.
So I want to start with your title
Okay.
and your position as attorney
Sure.
for county attorney, for Charleston County government. What does that mean?
So Charleston County government comprises of, it's a system whereby it's run by the county council members. They're non-elected officials.
Okay.
It's run by an administrator. He's the manager of all the employees in the county. And then there are a few elected positions like the treasurer, the register of deeds, those people that you vote for in the general election. And then there are a few appointed positions like your auditor and your county attorney.
Okay.
And so I'm one of the appointed officials for the county. I'm chief counsel for Charleston County. So anything that relates to Charleston County typically goes through my office. Nothing goes on a county council agenda without my approval.
Okay.
I advise a lot of the departments within the county. So if you think about your public works department, the people that are building the buildings or, fixing the roads or things of that nature, they all have departmental guidelines. And when they need legal advice, they come to my department.
Okay.
Obviously, I advise the county council members with regards to any legal issues that typically takes place in what you may have heard as executive session.
Yes.
So though I attend every single county council meeting. So, it's a little time consuming, but it's fun, it's challenging, it's different all the time. I have 6 attorneys that work for me and 3 staff members, and maybe I have the best staff in the county. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So it's interesting because I am one of those folks that I literally watch like school board meetings and county council. See, I've never watched Charleston County meetings, but now I'll tune in.
Yeah.
Since I know that you're on
It's
there.
very similar. I used to be general counsel for Charleston County School District.
Okay.
And so I was at all of those meetings
Right.
too, but it's a similar setup where you have an agenda that's publicized beforehand, and you go through the agenda and they make their motions and have their discussions and vote.
Yeah.
And it's you just kind of get to watch policy that, affects everyone in the
Right.
county unfold.
Unfold. So why law? So I thought I would be a lawyer.
Okay.
My father was an attorney. And so we just knew that I was just going to go to college and like 3 majors declared later. It was not going to be law.
It's not that different. So I thought that I was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
To the point where I have a biology degree.
Wow.
I have a public health master's. And then I was like, I think I might want to go to law school. So my parents were supportive, of course, but they were like, are you ever going to be done? So after 10 years of college, I graduated law school and hadn't looked back. So
how did you get that desire to go to law school?
A friend of mine was in law school at the time, and I went to visit and went to class. It was a torts class. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, torts is interesting.
I had spent all of my, work time. When you're in college, you have after class jobs and things in the medical field. So I was a volunteer at the hospital. I worked for a physician in Columbia and just did all these things. And it was just kind of, I was doing it because I thought that was what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Right.
And then when I went to that class, I was like, oh, and I literally came home and registered to take the LSAT and never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it on your face, and it's similar to when my dad would talk about the law. Like, he just loved the law, and there was nothing else that he would have wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I see that you really enjoy.
No, it's great. I
Yeah.
mean, the student loans aren't great.
Right.
But you know, the rest of it is great.
So I want to talk a little bit about who you are when you aren't practicing law. So what makes up the rest of you?
Oh, man. So I'll start. So I'm one of 5, really 6 if you count my stepbrother. And we are very close.
Okay.
So I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
Yeah.
And if I counted out our ages, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'll say pretend the oldest is 10. Okay. Because that's an easy number.
All right.
If the oldest is 10, then I would be 7.
Okay.
Then my brother would be 6. And then my stepbrother would be 5.
Wow.
My sister would be 4. And my youngest brother would be 3.
Oh, that's what my grandmother would say, the steps, the stair steps.
And we grew up so close, and we're still we're spread out a little bit now, but a day doesn't go by that I don't talk to at least 2 of them.
Right.
Is
everyone in South Carolina area?
No, my sister, we're from Aiken, South Carolina.
Okay.
And so my sister's there.
Yeah.
And I have a brother in Columbia and a brother in North Augusta, South Carolina.
Yes.
But then a brother in Georgia.
Okay.
So yeah, but close.
North Augusta is weird to me. It's because I grew up in Georgia, so North Augusta, South Carolina, really throws me off.
Yes, it's very odd.
Let's talk about the kids. I know you have 2 children.
Yes.
And you, again, your face do something different when you talk about those babies.
So the babies are special, you know. So my husband and I, his name is Willis. We've been married for 6 years.
Okay.
And we have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
6-year-old is my daughter. Her name is Weston. And she is just the sweetest little thing. Oh my gosh. The 3-year-old, his name is also Willis the third. He's going to be the protector of Weston. Okay.
Yes.
They are so fun, and just watching them bond and grow up, and it's just something really, really special. So
nice.
I had children compared to my counterparts later.
Yeah.
So, you know, my friends' kids are teenagers and getting ready to go to college, and my kids are babies, and it's so it's a different aspect, but it's so fun.
But it is fun.
Yeah.
Those are 8. My grandkids are 7 and 2.
Yeah.
And my oldest, my 7-year-old, he's a boy, but he's sweet, perfect, everything.
Calm.
Yeah, but Summer, the 2-year-old,
Yeah.
she's gonna tear things up.
Yeah. Little terrorists.
Yes. Exactly. That's what we call her.
Yes, but he keeps things spicy.
Yes.
He keeps us on our toes all the time. If it's quiet, something is wrong.
He is really into something, and you better find him.
Yes.
So how do you stay motivated? Like, I mean, because your job requires, so you have these babies, so you're doing stuff. You're moving, running, doing stuff all the time.
Yes.
Your job requires you to be focused and go through a lot of contracts, I'm sure, and documentation and manage people. So how do you keep going? How do you go from the person who has to read these contracts and sit in these long council meetings to, I'm sure, rolling around on the ground playing with the babies?
You know, I find it that you just be yourself.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in my life, I've had to code switch, which is not fun. It's not genuine. You're not giving people your authentic self. And what I have found that I've been able to reach people deeper, get more effective results, and just generally succeed better when I'm genuine.
Right.
And so I don't distinguish the two. Yeah. I have a cot and a blanket in my office at work just in case the kids get sick and have to, I have to pick them up, and they have coloring sheets and all the things, and I let them roam around. My office staff, they have children, so if that's necessary for them, that's allowed.
Right.
And so, there's no switching. I'm a lawyer and a mom at the same time. Yeah.
Awesome. Being authentic. And I think a lot of people need to hear that code switching, you are not only depriving yourself, but you're depriving everyone that you have contact with of who you are genuinely and authentically.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
So what about your community?
Oh, this, a lot of what I do affects people and they don't know it.
Yeah.
And so it's that's another motivating factor is just to make sure that when I am advising county council members or advising staff or advising whomever, is that you think about the broader reach of what that advice might mean. A lot of times, I think people think of lawyers as telling you what's right or wrong or what to do or not to do. I prefer for you to come to tell me what it is you are trying to accomplish. And then I will help you get there with the proper
Within the
legal
parameters
means.
of the
That's
law.
exactly right.
Right.
And so that's typically the approach that I take, and it has served me well. I think that the council members really enjoy that because it's not a, no, you can't do this. It's a, you can do this, but let's do it this way kind of thing. And that's worked well for me.
So you have a lot of responsibility in your job, and you are a young woman of color. How does that play out or how has it played out? Maybe this is different, but talk to me about being a woman of color leading a lot of individuals, but not only your staff that you lead, but people come to you for advice and the county council on your advice to move forward.
It's a challenge in a lot of ways at times. Once people know who you are, they understand your goals, they understand you as a person, they typically, if they want to succeed or believe in what you're saying, they fall in line and they follow. And that's fine. It's just getting there. A lot of times, African Americans, especially women, or at least for me, I will speak about my own experience. I was not taught about credit and finances and all the things necessary to be really successful once you reach a career path or whatever it is. And one of the things that I think is really foundational for me in this position is that when I initially applied, my husband and I, there was some things, I was pregnant with the baby and, there was some things going on. We just kind of missed some things. The mortgage. Just, it wasn't intentional. It was just, we got a foreclosure file, right? Okay, well, we, were noticed and we fixed it, I think, in maybe 30 days. It was a very quick, like, oh my gosh,
oversight.
what? Right.
Yes.
Well, if you take a look at any of the articles that were printed about this particular candidate for the county attorney, that's what it's focused on. There were members, at the time that were thought that meant that I could not be a good county attorney. And we've had conversations about that, and I don't believe that they believe that anymore. But it was eye-opening to know that, small mistakes, especially for some, can lead to missed opportunities. So, and I think that happens more for us than it does others. I don't know how many foreclosures Donald Trump has, but it's significant, and you have been the president of the United States.
Yes.
But yet I was almost precluded from being the county attorney because of a small mistake.
And a lot was going on in your life at the time.
A lot. I can't get into that because I will get emotional, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. But they did give me the opportunity to come in and explain, which is what I think helped.
Yeah. And I do think, and we put, as women, we put a lot of pressure. And as Black people, we are taught that we can't make even small mistakes. And even our successes have to be way over the top.
Yeah.
So when that happens, but the strength to withstand that.
Yeah. Not for my husband, because I'd have been like, I'm not a limelight. I like the thing about being an attorney is I did get to argue in courtrooms, and that is hands down the best part of being an attorney for me. But most of the time your work is behind closed doors and you're not in the spotlight. So being, week after week in the paper was not a fun thing for me, especially in this negative light. So yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you for sharing that, because, and we have a hashtag for What Women Bring, which is Get Ready to Get Real, because that's the only way somebody who's watching this is going to learn that, one, we can make mistakes and overcome them. but two,
you will make
little
mistakes.
things, we will make
you
mistakes
will.
and we must overcome them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is those small things. I used to think that if I just put the mail, if I didn't open it,
Yeah,
then
it would go away.
It would just go away. Or if I didn't answer the phone, they would just stop calling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had to have a rude awakening at
Yeah.
some point as well. And you know, we get over it.
I think this digital age, because a part of the problem is that we never open the mortgage statement. We pay online.
Right. These days, that's true.
That's exactly. So it was like, it was not. We were just missing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I had a student loan situation like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it got pretty ugly. And I was pregnant at the time. It got pretty ugly. My mama had to handle that call.
Yeah. Mom and daddy had to help me too.
Well, you have a couple of, we asked all of our honorees to give us a couple of key issues because we wanted to make sure. And one of the things this year that you were honored was our 5th year. And of course, 2 of those years were COVID. So they were virtual, but we still had great programs. But one of the things that we get the most feedback about is the panel, like everyone wants to hear more.
Yeah.
More and more. So that's why we developed these one-on-one conversations because we said, well, we'll get as much as we can in an hour with all the women together, and then we'll sit down for, some time and get to know each individual. So I know that you and I share this need for people to understand equality versus equity.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your thoughts on that.
It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. And once I think every single time that I've explained to someone what the difference is, especially when I was at the school district, you see traditionally African American schools receiving the same amount of funding as schools that have affluent parents or affluent children. And people are like, it's equal.
Yeah.
That's equality.
Right.
And I was like, yes, but it's not equitable. Because the children that's traditionally, they have, all these issues, all these demands, all these traumas that are coming into the school that need additional supports.
Right.
Support them so that they can have the same classes, same opportunities as this other group of schools.
Right.
And that is equity.
That's equity.
Yeah.
Yes. And at some point, we've got to get to even the justice piece where these systems aren't holding our kids, our health, our kids, our, the law enforcement, where we wouldn't even have to add extra support.
Right.
But we do, because there's so many systems. When you think about a child, someone just said this to me the other day, you can't expect a child who didn't have breakfast and didn't sleep in a warm bed to perform the same way throughout the school day as a child who did.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's really easy. Using schools as an example is easy because it relates to most people. Most people can relate to it. Yeah. But it really does affect us in every other aspect of our lives. I mean, just generally, every other aspect. Home buying. Literally every single aspect. And it's... I think that once we get to a place where more people can understand that, both black, white, brown, everyone, that we could all really, really grow as a country.
Because there's enough to go around. We just...
Plenty.
Yes. There's just this hierarchy and there's this feeling that if I'm not way up here and someone else is way down there, then it doesn't make me special.
Right.
But it really is enough. Yeah. To go around. That's where equity begins.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed.
Good deal. Now, what about representation and diversity in all areas of government?
Man, government is run by white men.
Yeah. Just government?
Well, it's been nice. So I started my career as a prosecutor for the Attorney General's office, statewide prosecutor with the state grand jury. And so prosecuted all over the state. It was fun and interesting, and I got to try a lot of cases, which is really what I wanted. And I got to work with some really, really great attorneys, which I think just gave me a solid foundation in the path that I chose. Yeah. And I went into private practice and represented injured people for a while. So medical malpractice and car accidents and slip and falls. And that was great. And I got to, I think, have a meaningful impact in the community portion of that, because the firm that I worked for was founded by an African American.
Okay.
So that was nice. And then I became a county attorney and a city attorney for the city of Columbia.
Okay.
Started as city attorney for the city of Columbia. And that's when I was like, I actually really like this. This is great. But man, just looking up at the dais at who's running the county or who's making the decisions, I was lucky enough to have an African American mayor at the city of Columbia, but the council members were mostly white.
Yeah.
And I've seen that pretty much
Throughout the
over
government.
and over.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Or if you think about the judicial system in South Carolina, the judges. We right now are on the verge, I think 4 of our African American judges are retiring in the next year. So and there's no one kind of
Coming
in that
behind
path.
them.
So it's important because we have different experiences in life, and to be the decider of a case or the decider of someone's fate or sentencing guidelines, it's important to understand or to have people that represent those different backgrounds.
I totally agree. We definitely agree on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, you know what? Our time is up, but I just want to thank you. This has been delightful.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed you on the panel. I enjoyed all the women. And so I've been looking forward to these one-on-one conversations. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And being real and being open and vulnerable.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.